Is Rachid Tolford, and I'm currently living in Coney Island, Brooklyn. Lived in Harlem before. Oh yeah, so that's me. I've been living in New York for most of my life. So
Okay, now I understand that you are part of a group
uh huh.
called what is it, the rejection?
Well, it's called rejection therapy.
Yeah.
Essentially, that group where we try to help each other with anxiety, for example, approach anxiety and other type of anxiety. So the main way we do is we hang out at a typical spot and we try and like go around, approach people, have conversations with them, and make connections. And by doing that, we learn that we desensitize ourselves to social anxiety and like approach anxiety.
So have you learned anything through trial and error?
Um, through trial and error, I've learned that it's not as bad as one thinks it is. A lot of it's in your head. Most people are approachable. Most people are approachable. Most people are willing to have a conversation. Um, if you're gonna like try to, let's say like you get a girl's number or something, you definitely want to have a conversation first. You definitely want to make her comfortable and show her, at least have a good time in that sense. Um, Another thing I've learned through trying there is just go for it. Don't think about it. Just if you want to approach someone, go for it because the longer you think about it, it just cripples you in the end.
What have been some milestones for you doing this cold approach stuff?
Well, the main milestone is being able to approach people, right? Especially in the general public. Um, Another big milestone for me is just having conversations. Right before then, I would say, "Oh, what's the directions?" or give them a compliment. But now I'm able to have actual conversation with people, and I learn a lot. I learn a lot from people. You never know who you learn from, and what surprises are out there. These are my milestones that I've achieved.
So how long did it take you to move from asking for directions to having a full conversation?
Let's see. I would say a month and a quarter, right? Because during that month, I was just getting used to the idea of approaching. Right before that, I never really would approach like a stranger. So after that month, I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable enough. So now let me actually take it a step further and actually try to have a conversation with the person.
Do you normally do this yourself or with other people? And why?
I do both, right? I do with other people because sometimes we do challenge each other. Like, oh, somebody's like, oh, approach this person or approach that person. So having like other people there going like with the same goal as you definitely helps you. And taking that step to do it. I also do it by myself too because I know that the group is not always going to be there, and I feel the real test is when you're by yourself trying to do this. And I think when you're by yourself, you really figure out what works and what doesn't. Versus a person could tell you something and you just do it because they told you to do it. So I would say if you're gonna do this, do it for group and by yourself. You want that balance.
So now I understand that you were once an introvert. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still introverted, right? I like my alone time. I like to keep to myself most of the time. But as of late, especially due to the pandemic, I realized that okay, I can't always be to myself. I gotta go out and meet people. So I've been trying to become a little bit more extroverted, so to speak, and it's been working well. Meeting new people, learning a lot of things about myself and the world around me. So I'm really glad I took that step to get myself out there.
Some loneliness is pushed you.
Yeah, loneliness and realizing that I don't have the type of social life I would want, right? Like I've had good friends and everything, but I wanted to expand my social circle as well. So that's a big reason why I'm doing this.
So can you be doing this cold approach stuff for the rest of your life?
Probably for the rest of my life, yeah. As I get older, I probably will not be as active, right? I probably won't be going out and just focus on cold approaching. But let's say when I'm older, if I'm at a park and like a person sitting next to me, and I was like, oh, this person seems interesting. Let me have a conversation. I could do that. It, there's always room for improvement when it comes to social skills and things like that. So, yeah, that's definitely something I could definitely see, have do it for the rest of my life, especially with those types of skills.
So what's some long-term goals you have for yourself? Is it marriage, kids?
I see kids, marriage. I see marriage. Like if my partner wants it, I'll do it for them. I mean, as long as I have like a long term, like a lifelong partner, it could be through marriage or just partnership. That's fine by me. I definitely see kids in the future. So, yeah,
So
and
you see yourself settling down?
yeah, at one point for sure. Maybe 10 or 15 years from now, in late 30s, maybe mid 40s.
So I understand that this rejection therapy group has members coming in and out. What are some advice that you would have for people doing it?
Well, one big advice is don't compare yourself to the other members of the group, right? Some people will, like in anything, progress faster than others, right? You just have to focus on your own progress and your own personal goals. And I like this group because we're always willing to help each other out, so never be afraid to just ask the other members for any tips. Or maybe sometimes we do approaches together, right? So let's say if we're having trouble doing one by yourself, one of us could go with you and like help you do approaches too. So just and keep an open mind as well, 'cause you never know.
So how exactly do people end up in this group?
I would say, from what I've heard, is through meetup or by word of mouth. Like for me, for example, right, I met one person through a meetup event.
Wait, what is a meetup?
Well, in an event where people meet up, it could be like at a bar or for a specific thing.
So this is all like promoted online? You hear about
Yes.
them online, the meetups?
Well, not this specific rejection therapy. I heard about it through word of mouth. So one person was already in it, and I met them at like another, like a social event.
How'd
And
you find out about that one?
the social event was through Meetup.
Yeah, how'd you find out about the meetup?
There's like Meetup.com, and then
See, I never even heard. I don't even know what a meetup is.
I mean, a meetup is a meetup. Like group of people meet for a particular. There's meetups for anything: soccer, football, anything you could think of. Right? It's kind of like meeting up with like friends, but you don't know them firsthand. So I've heard Meetup.com, and sometimes I just looking at the internet, just events happening in New York City. I was like, oh, this seems interesting. Let me go to that and check it out.
So how would someone join this rejection therapy?
As of right now, we have a WhatsApp link. I don't know the code specifically, but the person that leads it, he has it. So you would join through there, or you could join through Meetup too. There's also it on Meetup as well.
What's the criteria for joining this rejection therapy?
There's not really a criteria, just a desire to, learn how to approach, and if we have like anxiety, just learn how to curb that. A lot of the times we just hang out too. We do cold approaches and hang out. So it's just sometimes just meets to hang out. So it's not really any specific criteria you need to meet.
Now, would you say your confidence level has increased since you started doing these cold approaches?
Absolutely. There's definitely sometimes where, let's say there was a cute girl at a bar or whatever, or like somebody I wanted to talk to, I didn't have the confidence to approach them, but now through just doing this, I'm like, oh, I could approach this person. I could have a conversation with this person. And in addition, right, it increased my social skills, which also increased my confidence too. So that absolutely. Social media, the main one is Instagram, is Rachid Telford. Basically my first name and last name, all lowercase at Instagram. And that's all I have right now.
You want to give a shout out to anybody?
Shout out to, the leader of the rejection therapy group, Tiago, and then the guy that got me into it, Mark Nadella. So those two have helped me a lot in the cold approaches. And a shout out to the whole rejection therapy group. They're a good group of people. Yeah,
All right, now, do I have your permission to put this on the internet?
sure.